Hi dear students, today we are going to take up a poem by Andrian Rich. The title of the poem is Aunt Jennifer's Tigers. By Andrian Rich. Now this is a poem about women, how women are kept under pressure by men, how the patriarchal society oppresses women, how women have to play a subordinate role to men, how men dominate the women. So here in this poem, Aunt Jennifer feels oppressed by her husband. Her husband is a burdensome guy, a troublesome guy, keeps troubling her all the time. He wants to keep Aunt Jennifer under his thumb, and Aunt Jennifer has lived a life of burden and oppression. She's been tortured. She ain't enjoyed freedom. She's been kept in bondage by her husband. She's feeling very bad. She's very grieved. So the poem brings out the issue of women's being tortured by men in the man-dominant society, or say the patriarchal society. So we're going to do the poem line by line. Here the first line says, Aunt Jennifer's tigers prance across a screen. Aunt Jennifer is making a sweater. Actually, she's weaving a sweater, and on the sweater she weaves tigers. On the panel she makes tigers, and her tigers prance across a screen. They walk bravely and freely across a screen. Bright topaz, denizens of a world of green. Bright means shining, topaz means yellow, denizens means dwellers, those who live. World of green here means forest. So the shining yellow dwellers of the forest. Tigers dwell in the forest. They are the denizens of the forest. They are the denizens of a world of green. The phrase a world of green refers to a forest. They do not fear the man beneath the tree. Aunt Jennifer also has woven some men standing under a tree on the same sweater, and the tigers are not at all afraid of the men under the tree. Now there is a contrast between the condition of Aunt Jennifer and between the condition of Aunt Jennifer and the condition of the tigers. Aunt Jennifer is afraid of men, whereas the tigers are not at all afraid of men, even though they are so close at hand. They pace in sleek, chivalric certainty. Now the tigers walk. Pace means walk or move. In sleek means smooth. Chivalric means brave. Certainty means confidence. So the tigers are moving in smooth, brave confidence. They're moving smoothly. Now there is a contrast between the condition of Aunt Jennifer and the condition of the tigers. Aunt Jennifer's life has been so rough. It has not been smooth. It's been full of difficulties. She's gone through the restrictions of a married life. She has not been able to move about smoothly, sleekly. She found hardships at every step in her life. So the tigers move smoothly and in a chivalric manner. Chivalric means bravely. The tigers move bravely. See, the tigers move bravely, but Aunt Jennifer has never been brave. She's always been timid, always been cowardly. She's always been afraid of her husband. And the husband has always had an upper hand in everything. The husband has always oppressed her. So her life has not been smooth. Her life has not been brave. She's been very cowardly. She's been very timid, a timorous woman, as she has been. So here it says, The tigers move in sleek, chivalric certainty, and certainty means confidence. The tigers are confident. They're not afraid of anyone. They're brave. They're confident. They're royal. They enjoy royal freedom. They're not afraid of anybody. And here, the poem does not say that the tigers are not afraid of other animals. The poem says that the tigers are not afraid of men standing under the tree. Why? It's because the poet wants to create a contrast between the condition of Aunt Jennifer and the condition of the tigers. That Aunt Jennifer is afraid of male dominant society, whereas the tigers remain unafraid of them. The tigers are not at all afraid of them. The tigers are not at all affected by the patriarchal society. They don't care. They are brave, royal guys. By contrast, the condition of Aunt Jennifer is communicated to us all the more effectively. Let's take second stanza. It says, Aunt Jennifer's fingers fluttering through her wool. Aunt Jennifer's fingers fluttering through her wool. Find even the ivory needle hard to pull. The massive weight of Uncle's wedding band. Sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. This stanza is better understood as a whole than when taken line by line. Aunt Jennifer's fingers fluttering through her wool. As I have already told you, she is making a sweater. She is weaving a sweater, and her fingers are moving. Fluttering means moving through her wool. So her fingers find even the ivory needle hard to pull. The ivory needle is as light as a feather. I mean, what could be lighter than an ivory needle? The needle that you use to weave a sweater. But Aunt Jennifer finds it hard to pull that. Why? Because of the massive weight of Uncle's wedding band. Because she's just suppressed. She just can't bear the burden of Uncle's wedding band. Massive weight of Uncle's wedding band signifies the oppression and the torture and the restrictions that she receives from her husband. Massive weight, huge weight, unbearable weight of Uncle's wedding band, unbearable weight, unbearable burden of married life. The poor lady is suppressed under the restrictions of a married life. The poor lady is experiencing the tortures inflicted on her by her husband. So she is so burdened by that wedding band, which is another light thing, It's paradoxal that she can't even pull the ivory needle. So her married life has been so burdensome. Her husband is so wicked, so callous, doesn't even feel for his wife. So it is hard for her to pull the ivory needle under the burden of the wedding band, under the burden of married life. She just can't bear the oppression inflicted upon her. The wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. Now the poet is repeating herself. Look at these words, massive weight of Uncle's wedding band, and then sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. That's why she is not able to pull the ivory needle. So it is sitting heavily. It is very heavy, too heavy for her to bear. Her married life has been a hell. The wedding band is sitting very heavily. She just crushed under the burden of her husband's dominance over her. The poor lady. I sympathize with her. Do you do that as well? Now, the third stanza and the final stanza of the poem. When Aunt is dead, her terrified hands will lie, still ringed with ordeals she was mastered by. Well, the torture and the oppression has been persistent all through the life. But this stanza says, when aunt is dead, her terrified hands will lie, still ringed with ordeals she was mastered by. Man, it's a pity. Even after aunt is dead, her hands will still be terrified. She will still feel the burden of the marriage or the wedding ban. She says she won't feel free from the restrictions and the torture and the rule of her husband even after she is dead. She will still feel terrified of her husband there in the grave. When she's dead, her terrified hands will lie, still ringed, and she'll still feel surrounded. Ringed means surrounded, with ordeals means problems. She'll still feel surrounded by the problems she was mastered by all her life. All her life she lives crushed under the problems of her married life. She's crushed under the inflictions that she received from her husband. But then she said, this is something that really arouses pity in the readers. Her terrified, she'll still be terrified where? In the grave. She'll still feel ringed, surrounded with ordeals, means by problems that she was mastered by all her life, the poor lady. But the tigers in the panel that she made will go on prancing, proud and unafraid. The panel on which she is weaving the sweater, and on the sweater making tigers in the trees and the men and everything. So the tigers on the panel that she made, those tigers will go on prancing, will go on moving, proud and unafraid. So the tigers were never chained, they are not chained now, and they will not be chained in the future also. But Aunt Jennifer has been kept in chains by her husband all her life. And even after she is dead, she will still feel surrounded by the same problems. She will still be terrified in the grave. She can't get rid of the haunting fear and the haunting terror of her husband, even in the grave. But the tigers were always free, and they will always be. So they will go on prancing, they will go on moving in a royal manner. The royal creatures move in a royal manner, and they are proud and they are unafraid. They're not afraid of anyone, they're not terrified by anyone. So the contrast between Aunt Jennifer's condition and the condition of the tigers is what drives the poet's idea home to us. And by the contrast, the condition of Aunt Jennifer is communicated to us all the more. Aunt Jennifer represents all the women who are suffering in the patriarchal society. She's not just one lady, there are so many, thousands and thousands and thousands of poor creatures being oppressed. So guys, this poem is a feminist poem because it represents women, truly portrays the condition, the miserable condition of women, not only in America but in other countries also. Thank you very much.